Hi, welcome to the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today. The time of the year, October. The theme, Halloween. We've come across a neat product that we think you're really going to enjoy. At this time of the year, they have all kinds of things with Halloween motifs and so forth, but what we found is a little mug, and we think this is really cool. All of us love our mugs. We use it to drink our coffee in, we bring it to work to personalize and so forth. Well, here's a little mug that has a Halloween theme. It has the jack-o'-lantern theme. And we've had a great deal of fun here at Rittner Floral School decorating them. We've been very, very busy. Our staff, all of us have been playing with this to come up with an interesting idea for you. And there's so many things we can do with this. And that's the theme of our program today. We're going to be showing you a wide variety of different ways that you can decorate these things. You really have so many wonderful options available to you. Let's start with these two. Here we have our little mug, and notice the one thing about these particular little containers is that we can take them and we can just take stuff randomly and throw them in. Look, if you look at this one here on this side, we've got palms, we've got status, we've got a few miniature carnations, we have a few spray roses in here, we've got hydrangea, we've got a little bit of our raffia tucked in here, and even a little bit of tulle in an orange color that gives us a really, really cool effect. And the one on this side is very, very similar but slightly different contents. We've got, again, our little spray miniature carnations here placed in here. We've got some yellow alstroemeria. We've got some of our lime green carnations. We have some hydrangea here. We have a little bit of the paper, rolled paper that we kind of got hanging down there a little bit. It's really, really cool. You can come up with things very, very simply with whatever you happen to have on hand and whatever you happen to have lying around. So, for example, if you're a busy flower shop, you can go and very, very easily take a look at some of your scrap bins, the odds and ends that you have left over from other things, and make use of them in these containers. On the other hand, if you happen to be somebody who's a hobbyist, these lend themselves very, very well to taking the little mixtures and bundles that you can get at your outlet, at your mass market, or at your local flower shop, and then mix them up together in these designs. They really allow an enormous amount of stuff just to be thrown in to come up with an effect. Now, if you look at this one over on this side, we have, again, our hydrangea, we have a few roses tucked in, a couple of gerbera, and then a little branch material coming down and kind of hanging around, which gives it a nice kind of frame to it. This one here, again, we have a little bundle of things. We've got some hydrangea, a few of our alstroemeria, our salmon-colored mini carnation, a couple of mini carnations, and look right here in the middle. We have a little tiny pumpkin, which are so popular at this particular time of year. Mini pumpkins work very, very well. We want to make it a little bit more ghoulish. Try a little creepy crawler, maybe a little bug. They've got all of these cute little spiders and things that are available. Very, very easy to find. We could either just place it on there, or we could glue it on if we wanted to, but then it would be a little bit more of a permanent kind of thing. So you can see, my viewer, that these lend themselves very, very nicely to just random mixtures of stuff. And you can put random mixtures of all kinds of things in these to come up with great effects. Let me, my viewer, show you some other ideas on this, because we got lots and lots of cool things here. Here is another example of our mugs. We've got some great mugs here that we thought you might enjoy looking at. The mug on the right, my viewer, we have something that's a little bit more oval, a little lower, a little tighter. Again, using our mini carnations, some spray roses, some specialty palms, and a little bit of yarrow. The one over on this side, on the left here, we've got some of our specialty palms, some roses worked in the middle, a single gerbera, and a couple of our hydrangea up on top. It is so neat. We can do so many things and have a lot of fun with these. Let's show you a few more, because you can do so much with these kinds of bases. It's amazing. Look, here's one that we have here. This is an interesting pair, isn't it? The one on the right uses Biedermeier style. Biedermeier is concentric circles. And if you notice, we've got concentric circles on that particular one. We have here on the bottom some alstroemeria, a few mini carnations, some of our spray roses, and then of course our palms on the top. So my viewer, if you want to look at this particular one, you can study it. It makes it very, very easy to look at. It's this side, we happen to have something that almost feels like a funny hat. We've got some of our wire, our ornamental wire that has little pearls and wire decorated, and it almost looks like our little jack-o'-lantern has funny hair. And then poking out of that, we have just a big, massive piece of our hydrangea. And then in our hydrangea, a few alstroemeria tucked in. It gives a very, very different kind of effect, don't you think? Let's move on and see what else we have. Here is another example that we can come up with that gives some interesting effects. And I hope you don't mind my moving these around, my viewer, because I got a lot of really, really neat of the mugs to show you this morning that I think you're going to really find interesting. Here, we're radiating it out, coming up with more of a fan kind of shape. We're radiating it out here and also along here. In this particular case, this particular mug here, we've got some of our specialty palms here, both in terms of this amazing one with the white, the yellow rather, and little brown in the center. Yellow and brown certainly working well with the holiday theme. Some amazing roses that have some orange theme built into them, some of our Athos palms, and then again we've got some of our tulle that happens to be orange, definitely getting out the colors and themes of the holiday. And then let's look at this one. This particular base here has some of our amazing equisetum, our equisetum here, and then we've got a mixture of carnations, some solidago filler, and some different colored palms worked in. This is achieving kind of a radiating shape through the equisetum material. But we can take some of the equisetum material and we can do some other really neat things with it that give us really some other effects really, really effectively. For example, here's an interesting approach, a little different than the things we've shown you up till now. Some of the designs that we showed you up till now were primarily kind of moundy in shape or fan shape. This one makes use of this equisetum, folding it into different shapes, coming up with a center core, and then building the entire design here using the Athos green palms, which gives, I think, a very, very, really, really neat effect. Now, let anybody tell you that you can only do teeny tiny things in these mugs, and they would be wrong, because we can make mugs quite large. For example, here is a piece that shows that if we want something that can be a little bit bigger, a little bit more impressive, you're looking right now at the bottom part of the mug, but notice that this mug, when we look at the entire design, becomes significantly bigger. And you can see in this design we've got some of our liatris or blazing star forming our points of the design, some of the equisetum giving us little triangles through it. We have some orange carnations, a few of our Fuji mums, some status, and of course the amazing, wonderful trick dianthus worked into this design. It is not a small design, and this shows that you can take even a small container and come up with some fairly good sized things in it if you set your mind to it. So these containers are incredibly versatile. You can do so much with them and come up with really, really cool effects. Here's another example of some of the things you can do working on a little larger scale in terms of our base. In this particular case, we happen to be using some of our river cane over here, gladiola shooting up over here. Again, a mixture of palms, a couple of Fujis, some status, the green Athos palm. These things are wonderful as far as putting in a workstation or possibly having on a sideboard in your home or maybe in a kitchenette or dinette to cheer you up first thing in the morning. And because they work so well with all these wonderful holiday colors, it is really kind of fun and you can really do some really cool things with it. And that's why we think that these things are so wonderful. Here's another example. Let me pull it up for you to see, my viewer. In this particular case, we've gone horizontal. We've gone kind of horizontal on this one. And if you study it carefully, you'll notice that we've got here some very neat things going on in the design. We've got some of our solidago over on this side here. We have some of our carnations here, a couple of roses over here, and looped in with it a little bit of our berry material. This is really, really neat. You can do such cool things with this particular kind of design. It works so well. So you can see we can do all kinds of different shapes on these, different shapes, different configurations. Here's another one. I just get so excited when we're showing these things. This particular one, again, having a mixture of different kinds of things, very easy to put together. You know, a few carnations, a few alstroemeria, again, some of our branchy material with filler materials. It works so well, and it's so quick and easy to do. That's the beauty of these kinds of designs. Let's show you a couple more large designs, just to give you a sense again of the kind of things you can do when you're playing with this kind of media. You really can do so much when you're playing with mugs. I love mugs. I love cups and saucers, and the reason I love them is because you can come up with such varied effects and really neat things. And the materials that you use on these can often be the odds and ends, the things that are leftovers from other projects, and you can come up with such neat things. Now, looking at this one, look at the top of the design. It's not teeny tiny. In this particular case, we're using some of our glad foliage, left over some other things, but the glad foliage gives height to the design. Working down, you can see a whole segment using the equisetum, folding it and bending it into different shapes. And then finally, just simply some status, purple or blue status on the top, and a combination of mini carnations and specialty palms coming down into the bottom. Now, we could have just done that bottom section. Notice that in this particular case we're cropping off the top, and you can just see that little bottom section. That alone would work well. But by adding the equisetum and the glad foliage, the design becomes big, more important, and far more interesting, and a little bit more costly because it is a much bigger design. Here, let's show you another one, my viewer, that I think you're going to find really, really interesting and cool, because just we want to give you a sense of the varieties that you can do on this. What do you think? Kind of cool? In this particular case, we happen to have a really, really neat composition, and again, it doesn't take that much. You can come up with some really neat results with this kind of thing very quickly and very easily. The design incorporates our little mug, our specialty mug, but in addition to the specialty mug, we played with a few other elements here that are cool. Some lovely roses, again in seasonal orange colors, sent in the focal area of the design, and a little bit of status going around it. But notice, my viewer, that we're also making use of some of our gladiolas. Here. So many people have this idea that glads are somehow a funeral quote-unquote flower. Well, they have been used very effectively because they're big and they're showy. But look, my viewer, in just a small little mug with a specialty theme, the glads really add to it, and they tie in so nicely because the colors at this time of the year, they really work very, very well. And here's another example along the same theme, perhaps a little bit more contained, not quite as wild as the last one, making use of our gladiolas coming here, coming over here. Notice, my viewer, we've got some of the equisetum right here, some of our palms and our athos palms, and a little bit of status to give us a classical L shape in a mug theme with the Halloween idea. Well, my viewer, we've covered an enormous amount of ground. Notice just the sheer numbers of mugs with Halloween themes that we've shown you in this brief presentation. I could go on and on. There are all kinds of neat things that you can do with this simple little container. And it comes to the adage, it's what you do with it. You can do so many things with this. It's a very, very neat little thing. I think, my viewer, you should go look for some of these kinds of specialty mugs. But in addition to that, look at your mug collection at home. Look at your mug collection at work. There are tons of mugs out there that relate to various holidays and themes. They make wonderful novelties, and you can use just any combination under the sun. Best of all, they're quick and easy to do, and that's the Rittner Floral School way, quick and easy. For all of us here at Rittner Floral School, it's been a pleasure having you come in and visit our classroom today. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner. Get out those mugs and start designing, and have a wonderful, wonderful designing time. Thank you for coming in and visiting with us.